Hey everybody, Vince August here, and it is Thursday, July 9th, and we have a new threat to our democracy. It's incredible. Yet another new threat to our democracy in what's going to be probably the most important presidential campaign in the history of my life, that is going to pit Joe Biden against Donald Trump, which is going to be a battle like just two old guys in a church basement fighting over a bingo game or an argument that you haven't seen the likes of since the movie Cocoon came out. We have this presidential campaign is now being tossed in the air by this guy. This guy is throwing a wrench into the works. People are scared that this guy will take votes away. Listen to me. If your candidate that you're supporting is actually threatened by Kanye West taking votes away from them, that says more about your candidate than it does Kanye West, okay? And the truth is, this couldn't be a worse choice right now. We know what we're going to get with the guy on the right, okay? We've had it for 3.5 years. The guy on the left, no idea what we're going to get, okay? It's a Trojan horse that the DNC is going to decide to fill whenever it suits their need. And then that's what we know what we're really going to vote for, because if Biden wins, it's going to be 4 years of elder abuse pushing this guy around while everyone else makes decisions. Because the only thing I've seen from Joe Biden for the last 6 months is that he spent more time in a basement than this girl did in Silence of the Lambs, okay? I'm not impressed with either one of these candidates, and as a New Jerseyan, this is par for the course. See, because we don't get a primary until June 5th. So by then, we've already had a candidate shoved down our throat, and we're told, here, choose between these two flawed candidates, which is why a Kanye West poses such a threat to our American democracy. And listen, this has been going on for years. And anytime someone does try to be that third candidate wild card, it gets dismissed, it gets burned down. Even when that person actually has different ideas, but that person usually only is allowed to fight for so long. And we've had that person. Nobody sticks by their policies and their beliefs more than this guy. Nobody. Doesn't come close. And nobody fights harder for 3/4 than Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is the 3/4 battler. He is the Atlanta Falcons of Super Bowl 51. He will dominate you for 3/4. And then when push comes to shove in that fourth quarter, here's what Bernie Sanders does. He tucks tail and he winds up getting in line behind Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, because the bottom line here is, folks, the machine will not let it happen. The machine that we are part of will not let this happen. Until we have term limits, until we take money out of politics, this is what we're going to be stuck with. And if you say, but our elections are for sale, no, they're really not. Because look, this guy wanted it for all of 5 minutes and $500 million until one question took him down, which is stop and frisk. And he was just like, you know what, forget it. I want to go make my money. And we've seen this even in politics in smaller scales. Look, we have people out there that have really good ideas. This guy in Washington State has some really good energy ideas. But at the same time, he has no idea what's going on in his own state, because it took 3 days for him to know that this was happening in Seattle. Really? Took you 3 days to figure that out? And we've seen this throughout. And people say to me, Vin, what about, but the Democrats are bad, the Republicans are... No, listen. These are two sides of the same coin. And I know it pisses people off when I say this, because I'm offending everybody watching this video. But you have to understand the truth in this. Because look, even here in New Jersey, okay, this guy's a Democrat who worked for Goldman Sachs, who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, okay, without a doubt. And how many black people did Goldman Sachs employ while he was there? How many minorities did Goldman Sachs? But all of a sudden, this guy has a bout of consciousness now, after you've lived your entire life as a Republican. Now you're going to throw on that blue D and tell everybody this is what you stand for. This is the same guy, by the way, that during this pandemic has said, if he could have built a wall around New Jersey and shut us down completely from people going in and out, he would have done it. Building walls. Gee, didn't that used to bother people? So you know what? I wonder why people get so upset when someone throws their hand in the ring. What is it that really bothers them the most? Is it the person? Or is it that it exposes our system for the flaws that it has? Because, listen, I'm not saying I would vote for Kanye West. In fact, it doesn't matter who you vote for in the state of New Jersey. The state always votes blue. But in the end, when you talk about representation, 39% of our Congress are millionaires. That's right. People that make a salary of $175,000 a year, 39% of them are millionaires, whereas 12% of America are millionaires. That's not exactly representative. And I'll tell you one thing about Kanye West. Say what you want about this family. They've got more representation and cross sections of America than anyone else. Now listen, for people out there thinking, well, Vin, you know what? Look, we already had one reality TV star and model take over. What are the odds that we'll have that happen again? Well, you know what? That's the other problem here. The problem is here that people don't trust our public and the way they vote, because odds are people in this country could give us the same thing twice. And that's the fear. The fear isn't whether or not our candidates are strong or weak. It's whether we trust people to be smart enough to know what they're doing. And the bottom line is, we don't trust each other right now. And why should we? Because we don't like each other right now, do we?